Well, good afternoon, everyone. Last but not least, this is the last project of the 2010-2011 generation, and we're very excited and we're very proud to be here and present today shared consumption. So this picture, I shop, therefore I am, is a representation of a very common symptom that people suffer nowadays, called hyperconsumption. Hyperconsumption refers to the fact of us buying more things in bigger quantities and at faster rates than ever before. People are buying and consuming for self-advertisement rather than utility. We are defining ourselves by what we own. Now, consumption is not bad. However, unsustainable consumption levels have been reached. Worldwide consumption topped 20 trillion in 2000. That's a fourfold increase from 1960. What has helped in this rise of hyperconsumption? Well, there are several factors. To start off with, we have the power of persuasion that's being exerted by advertising and marketing. We are being persuaded and we're being told what we need and what we want. Second of all, we have the credit card companies who have made the unaffordable affordable. And third, and most important of all, industries since the early 1920s have introduced planned obsolescence in their products. That means intentionally reducing a product's life cycle so they can sell more units and then make more profits. Hyperconsumption is affecting our society and our environment. In this modern life, people are characterized by overworking and being stressed. So they work to buy, to consume till the end of their life. This culture has made us believe that if we accumulate wealth, we're going to be happy. And yet, we're forgotten about our social bonds. We become egocentric and materialistic, and there's a lack of social cohesion worldwide. As for the environment, in this picture here, and you guys are all familiar with this picture, we see the ecological footprint, which measures the human demand of resources on Earth. We see that it's increasing since 1961. And then we see the biocapacity, which measures the availability of the Earth to regenerate itself, has been decreasing in the same period of time. In the early 1970s, we see that already our ecological footprint is higher than our biocapacity. So what does this mean? We're consuming more resources than there's actually available. And to make it worse, for every 45 kilograms of product made, there's approximately 400 kilograms of waste generated. That's a 32-to-1 ratio. We cannot keep consuming at the same levels we've been doing for the past 50 years. We've seen it has negative consequences, and these problems are even higher in cities where there's a lot of population. So there has to be an alternative solution. And for your good news, there is. We're seeing a huge shift from the 20th century to the 21st century. In the old century, our credentials were defined by what the credit score that we were given either by a bank or an agency. Today, our reputation is defined online, what our peers are saying about us. Advertising is on a decline and community building is booming. 14% of customers trust advertising, yet 98% of us trust our peer recommendations. Individual ownership is being replaced by access to resources. Individuals are shifting to a usage mindset. We don't want to be defined by the wealth or our social power. We want to be defined by what we like to do, what we like to read, what we want to participate in. People around the world are participating, engaging, collaborating among each other than ever before. Community is going to be the new way we're going to interact. So hyperconsumption is going to become collaborative consumption. Collaborative consumption refers to taking old market ideas and behaviors and reinventing them through peer-to-peer technologies.
So it's in this context of global pressing issues and the amazing opportunities collaborative consumption is offering that we created Shared Consumption, or SHARCO, a social enterprise which mission is to raise awareness about the negative aspects of hyperconsumption that we just saw and encourage individuals to become more conscious and smarter consumers. Through the creation of a physical and an online network, where individuals can participate, interact with each other to share goods, skills, and knowledge. So in order to know if people would need it, like it, be interested, we performed an extensive market research. And results are good. 69% of them would be interested in sharing durable goods, like household appliances or books. 70% of them would be interested in sharing services, skills, and knowledge, such as legal advice or a yoga class. 49% would like to have both a physical and an online platform. What is interesting here is that people not only want to have virtual interconnections, they also want face-to-face interactions. So our physical location will also help to build trust, pointed out as a main barrier for sharing. Chueca will be the neighborhood where we will open the first physical location. Other options were Salamanca, Lavapiés, or Malasaña. We chose Chueca because it is an open-minded and centrally located neighborhood surrounded by people with many different income levels. So there are two sharing mechanisms. You can either rent or swap. Let us give you some examples. You can rent an item. How does that work? Well, first, you find the item on the Charco website. You request it, you get the confirmation of availability, you go collect it in the Charco location, and after having finished using it, you return it. You can also rent space in a similar way. Why rent space? To work or to organize social events, for example. You can also swap. How does that work? First, you post your stuff on the website. Every member will have an I have list and an I want list. Then you either click the match button, and then Charco will automatically find people you can exchange with, or you browse others' lists by yourself. Then you send the offer, you select someone and the method of exchange, either trade, meaning you exchange stuff for points, or barter, meaning you exchange stuff for other stuff. You get the confirmation, and then you can swap. So, the idea is, if you want to get something, you have to give something. Now, to facilitate the sharing, Charco works with a point system. How can you get points? Well, first, you give away a durable good to Charco, a drill, for example. For this, you will receive an initial amount of points. This good will be redistributed among the many members, and every time it is rented out, you will get some points from those members. You can also share your skills or knowledge. You give a French class, for example. You get points from the attending members. If you don't have anything to share or for any reason you need points, you can also buy it directly to Charco. 1 point is worth €1. Now, we developed an adapted marketing and communication strategy in order to spread the word and to be known. First, Charco will be integrated into social media. Remember, 98% of the people trust peer-to-peer recommendation. So it's key. We will have Facebook, blog, Twitter, a peer-to-peer review system, and an open live chat customer service. We will also organize social events, such as cocktails, vernissage, lectures, etc. And finally, we will make partnerships with other organizations sharing the same values and vision as Charco. Partnerships will help to build trust and the critical mass needed.
And how are we going to impact society? As you already know, Charco is a social enterprise. And as a social enterprise, we aim to create social benefit. This is what motivates us. Are you? No? This is what? So, How are we going to impact society? As you already know, Charco is a social enterprise. And as a social enterprise, we aim to create social benefits. This is at the core of our business. This is what motivates us to create benefits for society. And, and what are those? Well, first, we want to bring back community feeling and social bonds. This is something we have been losing in the past years due to a lot of factors. And now we want to bring it back through 3 values, which is trust, empathy, and cooperation. These 3 values are pillars for collaborative consumption success. And also, we want to provide people with more than a virtual platform. Okay, we know virtual platforms are really important, but we want to go further and provide them a physical place where they can interact. If you think we are living in a really paradoxical situation in which we are more and more connected by telecommunications, but in the same time, we are losing our bonds. In the market research we have performed, all the interviewees said they don't feel as belonging to a community. So, in one hand, we have this really, really connected world, but in the same time, we can trust in our neighbors. And worse than this, we don't even know them. And if you guys ask yourself, you probably don't as well. So, we want to provide people a physical place where they can have this old-fashioned interaction, such as face-to-face conversation, eye contact, in order to provide trust and collaborative values. Well, dialogue. This is more or less related with the previous one, but now the focus is exchange of experience. We truly believe in the power of dialogue to create opportunities, to improve lives, and to solve our daily problems. Every one of us have a huge background of experience that has to be shared. It can be useful to someone else. And I'm talking about everything. It can be a pie recipe, it can be a stock market advisor. Everything is useful to someone else. So we want to facilitate this dialogue, providing a physical place, our lounge areas, our social events, or also our virtual place and through the social media. Accessibility. We want to enable people from all levels of income to have a cheaper and easier access to goods. And doing that, we are increasing the utility and the life cycle of the products, but in the same time, we are decreasing somehow some social inequalities. Once those that couldn't afford certain items before now can. Domestic savings, of course. With this cheaper access to goods and service, we are decreasing somehow the amount spent by people in this ownership. And this and we are creating, therefore, a systematic surplus in household life that can be invested in other important things such as healthcare, education, leisure, or why not their own business. Environmental benefits. Well, this is not a directly social impact, but of course, every time you're bringing some benefits for environment, you're bringing for society as well. So every product reuse will avoid a new product to be bought. And this in long scale and high scale and long term will avoid a new product to be produced. And this is the shift we want to bring about. We want to go from a production-oriented system to a value and experience accessibility-based system. And doing that, we are reducing waste generation, we are reducing greenhouse gases, we are reducing natural resources depletion, and more important, we are creating awareness about environmental issues and sustainability. And last but not least, education. We want to have an impact on education within our community. So within Charco structure, we're going to have book sharings, we're going to have DVDs, didactic material, we're going to have classes, workshops, lectures, we're going to publish articles, videos in our social media. So within all these levels and through all these channels, we want to improve the access to information. And doing that, we are promoting the personal development of our members and improving education, which is the base for any change. Thank you.
So everything that we've been talking so far sounds really good, but does it work from a financial point of view? Is it economically sustainable? Well, this is what we're going to find out with the financial projection that we made. Of course, we're going to have a quick review on the revenues and the cost we actually have as a company. Of course, we have to remember that we have a social enterprise, so we need to be sustainable from an economic point of view. The revenues are going to come from the point system that we've been talking before. The points will allow you to take place to a workshop, to rent out goods. And then we're going to have revenue coming from the space renting when you want to rent when you want to rent facilities from Charco in order to work. And then we're going to have on the online platform, we're going to generate revenues through the advertisement system and through the iPhone application that is going to be developed. Then in the physical place, we're going to develop a cafeteria, which we decided to outsource. So we're going to have a fixed income coming from the cafeteria. And then at the same time, we have an upgraded membership system, which will allow us to generate some cash inflow. On the cost side, of course, we're going to need some employees. We're going to need 2 interns. And then we're going to need a cleaner for the physical place. And then we have a maintenance fund, which is in case of degradation of the goods that we have in charcoal. And then, of course, as we said before about the point system, every time we give away some points to someone donating a goods or giving a class, that means that when he's going to rent out, he's not going to need as much points as he would. So this represents an opportunity cost that we want to take into account in the model. Of course, being a physical place charcoal, we need to pay rent and we need to pay bills, like everybody. So the model that we actually developed is based on the number of members. Why? Because as being a community, as the number of members increase, there's going to be more opportunity for workshop, there's going to be more opportunity for goods to be rented out, and there's going to be more people renting out goods. So the assumption that we made, of course, being a model, we need to make some assumption, unfortunately. And the main one are that 65% of the members in the physical place are going to be involved in renting out every month, and 20% are going to be participating in 2 events. So a simplified table in the net income statement will show that we're going to break even at the end of year 3, meaning that after year 3 we're going to recover all the initial investment and we're going to start generating profits. Of course, being a limited company, we didn't mention that before. We, as the funding members, we're not going to have a fixed salary, but we're going to have the eventual profits that are going to come out of Shark. So we're going to start enjoying these profits at the end of year 3. Some features that we want to point out is that we decided to raise 60,000 euros as a capital at an interest rate of 9%, which is the average for social enterprise here in Spain. Another important feature to point out is at the end of year 5, we're going to have around 1,000 members according to our projection. Well, if this sounds to you as a big number, it's only the 0.05% of the potential customer here in Madrid that we have been identifying through the market research. So having a model, we can actually play with the numbers and come up with different scenarios. So let's take a look. We can have a pessimistic scenario in which we experience a drop of 20% in members at the beginning. And what are the effects? In the first year, the revenues are not going to overcome the operating cost, meaning that at the end of the first year, we're still going to need extra funding. On the other side, in an optimistic view, increasing the number of initial members, we can actually become self-sufficient after 9 months. What does this mean? That we're not going to need any money from outside, external funds. Of course, we have a model, we need to identify the risk, and we have to see how they actually impact in the financial statement that we have. So for every risk that we have been identifying, we decided to run the model, the same model, but with this risk taken into account. So we plotted this into a risk matrix, where you can have probability and impact in order to identify the main risk on which we have to focus. Of course, being the model based on the number of members, this represents the risk that we have to manage throughout the project. So to wrap up, in order to be profitable and successful from an economic point of view, we need to attract a growing number of members. But this, at the same time, is in line with the other objectives that we have been talking about during the project. So in order to have a community bond, in order to achieve the social objective and the environmental objective, we need to attract a growing number of members. So by doing this, we can actually be profitable. So the main idea of our project is to shift consumption from an ownership view that has been so far to a user view. And by doing this, we truly believe that we can put pressure on the production side. But how can you do it? How can we do this? Just if we are scalable. And why are we scalable? Because we are profitable. In other words, charcoal. Thank you.
Perfect. 20, perfect.
Thank you very much, Charco. Very nice presentation, very sleek, and the time, very good timing. I think the idea is a great idea. The diagnostic, the starting point is very good as well. Definitely, there is a trend on kind of having a different way to deal with market and consumers interacting with them and so on. So definitely, I really enjoyed the whole presentation and your presentation as in kind of individual performance was very good as well. I've got a few questions, probably a bit more concrete than my previous questions for the other groups. But the physical location aspect is not clear to me. That your survey of 6 people, it's good evidence that there is a problem with people communicating to each other. Obviously, you interviewed 6 people from the paper here, which seems quite a low number. But maybe, you can explain now that. But I'm not too sure about the physical location and the implications for the business in terms of maintaining that kind of warehouse or whatever and accumulating PCs. And I think that the trend, my understanding is that you don't need that physical. But if you could elaborate a bit on that, and I've got a few other comments. I don't know how the swapping thing is going to work from a kind of a generation of business or points or money for you guys. So if you could explain how you see the swapping part of the business generates points or money for you, and is there really a need for some kind of intermediary as a company, or could consumers to consumers engage directly without having you guys on the scene?
Okay, I think I'll take the first question and then I'll let the group to take the other question. Okay. So regarding the physical location, well, first of all, we have durable goods that are easy to transport because we don't want to encourage shipment or heavy transportation or using cars, first of all. The other reason why we chose a physical location is because we don't want only to have this virtual interconnectivity. Otherwise, we're going to be another social media out there. What we want to do is we want to strengthen the bonds with society. We want people to come together and become a community, people to know their neighbors, and rent in locations close to their house where they know the people around it. So Sharko, this is just the first location, Treka, and it can be replicated into any other neighborhood. And for the interviews, we did 6 face-to-face interviews for a period of 1 hour, but we also had an online survey of 200 people. We tried to reach more people. It was hard. For the 6 months that we were doing the research, we tried to disseminate the survey, and our classmates are witnesses of that. We were tired. But I think the results were also good. People were saying we don't want only the online. We want the physical. And one of the reasons is trust. Trust is the main barrier for people sharing online, especially here in Spain, because the culture is not like in the American culture.
So if I can add also, in the survey we got a question, it was about do you share, and if you share, with who? And most part of people said they share with their friends and their family. So we want to replicate this family contest through Sharko. So having a physical place, and if I can add also, it's gonna be we inspired ourselves in the hub and in Starbucks. To create this cool place, this pleasant place where people can be comfortable to establish a conversation with. And every single thing we have in the physical place is it was thought in order to push people to be together. From the couch, from the table, everything it was thought in order to push people to get together.
Yeah. And then about the warehouse that you say that you're afraid that we will accumulate maybe second-hand things, and then that was question 1 and 2, and then 3. We are at all intermediaries. This is very important. It's key. And thank you for the question, because if it was not clear, it's important that we mention it. The success of those platforms and of collaboration between peers is exactly that you feel you exchange directly with the community, and it has no sense to have an intermediary, because It's not in the collaborative consumption spirit, or it's not how it works. So we are not intermediaries. We are just providing the tool and the platform.
And going back to the swap, the most important thing about swapping is that we need that critical mass. So at first we've seen that all these models from collaborative consumption, they have very few members. And in less than 1 year, they've achieved more than 1,000 members. Our financial model is very, very conservative. We've said that we're only going to achieve 1,000
after 5 years. 5 years.
5 years.
So this is really low.
Some of these companies have achieved 80,000 members in year 1.
And then, if I can say one thing, the system is based. It is actually developed in a way to incentivize people to donate goods that can actually have durable goods. They have a long lifetime because they actually get points when people rent out goods. So you see, the incentive is not in giving something that people are not going to use, they're not going to enjoy, because otherwise you're not going to get any points. And if you don't get any points, then you have to buy points. So it's an incentive for people to donate something that can be used, that can be enjoyed by other people in a long-term view.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to congratulate you for the presentation. I think it's a great project. If you're saying that in year 5 you have 1,000 members, your projection for year 1 is how many?
For year 1?
Yeah.
For year 1 is around 300.
300 for year 1?
Yeah, in the base
But
case,
both combine the virtual and the physical, because what I see here is that you have, and actually you mentioned it in your paper, you mentioned eBay, and then you mentioned the hub, among other examples that you give. So those 300 are just physical, or both are?
Yeah, the idea is that on the online platform you can swap. So we're not behaving as an intermediate, and you can just swap, finding the things that you need and giving up something that you want. In the physical place, the idea is to rent out. So you donate goods and then you rent out. So all the financial projections are based on the physical place, because that's where we're gonna earn money. That's where the revenues come from. Because in the online, when people swap, they just do on a free base. We don't get any money. We just get money in case they actually need to. For example, I have a computer, and someone else has just a tablet, and they want to swap, and they have to integrate. And in that case, we get a transaction fee, but it's really slow.
Okay, what happens if I'm in the physical place and I want a computer that was just taken by another person? Are you going to have a stock, or do I have to wait until that person brings the computer back, or too bad I just missed the opportunity? What happens?
Well, yes, as you can see, and the model says you have to wait for a confirmation that it's available. But as we grow members, there's going to be more products out there available. If we don't have it for rented out, you can swap. You can go on our online website and look for somebody else who's willing to swap.
Okay, so if I don't find it physically, then I can look at it in your virtual platform.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how are you going to guarantee that you're going to get those items back?
It's based on trust. Trust is one of the main barriers, but it's also proven that people trust their peers, and it's their reputation. So they care what people who they know and they interact with say about them. And trust is in all of these platforms. I mean, couch surfing. You go and stay at a random person's house we've never met, but you know they belong to the network. And there's a reputation online, and you don't want to damage your reputation.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And we're moving along, so thank you, Charco team.